What's up, people? Today I'm finally getting into my Mission Impossible series, starting off with Mission Impossible in 4K, and I got that coming up for you next. So all of the Mission Impossible movies just came out in 4K a couple of weeks ago, and I'm reviewing all of them leading up to Mission Impossible Fallout that is coming out in theaters this Friday, and I will be reviewing that also. So getting into the original Mission Impossible here, the movie itself is a movie that I loved as a kid, and that is because even though I didn't understand this plot, because it is a mess, and as a child, it just washed over me. All of the action in this movie, and I mean every action scene, is a classic. I can go 15 years without seeing this movie and remember every single action scene in this movie, beat by beat, and just it sticks with me like that just because of how thrilling the action scenes are in this movie. But as I got older and wiser, I realized really paying attention to this movie is a mess just because of the plot in this movie. It forces you to make leaps of logic and assume things in the plot that really aren't on screen, and it can get very confusing, needlessly so. And for that, I do have to give the first Mission Impossible a 6 out of 10. This was one that I loved as a kid, and now look back at it and say, yeah, I mean, it was a good action movie, but the plot is just ridiculous. Now, getting into the video quality of this 4K Blu-ray, I will just reference the original Blu-ray that came out a long time ago and say that that Blu-ray looked like a DVD. It was soft and it was just really not polished. And this 4K Blu-ray was put through a 4K scan and given Dolby Vision support, and that is pretty important just because of the fact that right off the top, you will never ever know that this was given Dolby Vision support, because the HDR here is almost not apparent. Skin tones, that's where you'll notice the HDR, because of the fact that on the original Blu-ray, the skin tones were all over the place, and the HDR and the Dolby Vision here temper that down, but other than that, nothing. It's just not apparent here. And then you say, come on, you at least have to have a more detailed disc here. No, not really. It's not. I mean, God, I was stunned at how lazy this disc is. With clarity and detail, I will say that this looks the way that the Blu-ray should have looked. Not the way that the 4K Blu-ray should look, but how a Blu-ray should look. How this Blu-ray should have looked when it came out years ago. Guys, this was a soul-crushing experience watching this for you guys, and for that, I do have to give this 4K Blu-ray a 2 out of 10. Now, getting into the audio here, again, Paramount has really treated the Mission Impossible franchise badly. On the original Blu-ray, they didn't even upgrade the audio. And here, yes, they did upgrade the audio, but to a Dolby True HD 5.1 track, not a Dolby Atmos track. So that's pretty much like saying, hey, we're going to give you what we should have done the last time, but not what we should do this time. Come on, man! Come on! This is ridiculous. It's a soft track. I will just say that right now. When the action kicks in, it kicks in fine. It's pretty front heavy, but bass response is good. But really, you're not going to give us even a Dolby Atmos track on this. With the exception of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, every single mix has a Dolby True HD 5.1 mix. And you can't even give them credit for doing it for Rogue Nation, just because they already had done it on that Blu-ray. So really, they just ported it over onto that Blu-ray. We'll talk about it when I get there. But for this audio track here, I have to give this a 5 out of 10. It is serviceable as a Dolby True HD mix, but why did we get a Dolby True HD mix? Now, getting into the digital copy here, this is a ultraviolet digital copy that still allows you to access the 4K version on Vudu. As far as special features go, we get a typical special feature collection here of featurettes that go into Mission Impossible over the years. At the time that this featurette was made, Mission Impossible was 40 years old, and it goes into that. And then we go into pretty much the action scenes of the film, and then the actors talking about the film itself. We get the gadgets of the film. Now, taking into account that none of these special features are actually on the 4K disc, I do have to give this a 5 out of 10. It is serviceable without including anything extra. And for my last looks at Mission Impossible, like I said, the movie has great action. And I mean great action. And the acting is really great. But I will say that the movie thinks it's smarter than what it actually is. And it just makes you go into and make leaps of logic just to justify what is happening on screen, because some things just aren't explained here, and you're just expected to roll with it. And after a while, I just didn't. And as far as my overall score for this 4K disc, this is actually the lowest score that I've ever given any 4K disc. This got a 17 out of 40. That is actually pretty hard to do, but they managed to do it by giving us a pretty bad video transfer that really didn't offer that much of an upgrade. I mean, at all. This is a very soft video transfer. And not even giving us the audio that we should have gotten here. So, hopefully I can say better things about Mission Impossible 2, and I will have that review coming up for you guys real damn soon. And I thank all of you for watching this video, and you guys are awesome. And I will see all of you next time.